Bad day for Christian evangelicals in America, at least for those who subscribe to Reverend Jerry Falwell's brand of socially conservative, politically active faith. He was remembered today at the Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia. The church he built at the seat of a media, political, educational empire. Pat Robertson attended, so did Franklin Graham. The White House sent a junior aide. When Reverend Falwell died last week, his clout was already somewhat diminished from its peak during the Reagan years, but he leaves a void just the same. The question now, who fills that void? CNN's Randy Kay takes a look.
For decades, Jerry Falwell set the tone of the evangelical agenda. Now, the changing of the guard.
The New York Times this week called him one of the old lions, replaced by a new breed of evangelicals. I pray to God that these new leaders will be the champions of these same values that made him controversial.
Controversial, polarizing, even, some say, bigoted against gays and others. Already a kinder, gentler, broader evangelical agenda is emerging.
The older generation of leaders from the 1980s and 1990s really don't fit the younger group of evangelicals particularly well. The style has changed, the issues have changed.
The Pew Center's John Green sees a metamorphosis of sorts, a clear division between traditionalist evangelicals, who Green labels as Christian right, and more centrist, those represented by the newer breed of evangelical leaders, socially and theologically conservative, less likely to get political and alienate other congregations. Leaders like Orlando Reverend Joel Hunter.
We still care very much for the vulnerable inside the womb, but now it's time to also emphasize the vulnerable outside the womb.
Hunter is on a short list of possible new generation successors. Others include Pastor Rick Warren, author of the best-selling A Purpose-Driven Life, and Reverend William Hybels, who has joined Warren in the fight against AIDS in Africa. All are expected to help steer the religious right beyond abortion and school prayer toward what they call a more compassionate agenda: immigration, AIDS, global warming.
It is Satan's attempt to redirect the church's primary focus.
That was Falwell on global warming. This is Hunter in a TV ad on the same issue.
That with God's help, we can stop global warming.
Younger evangelicals, like younger people generally, are much more concerned about the environment and things like climate change. But even on hot-button issues like homosexuality, the younger generation is more tolerant and more accepting.
Hunter and the others haven't abandoned basic evangelical values. Abortion still unifies the group. They just want to expand them, and that might attract some evangelicals to Democrats.
Unless there is a real response out of either party to the real needs of people, they're going to hurt themselves on Election Day.
For now, evangelicals are still searching for a Republican presidential candidate to energize their ranks, like Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush did, someone to hang their hopes on as the movement matures.
Why haven't they been able to find a candidate up to now? Is it that there are too many candidates?
The problem, Anderson, seems to be that none of the candidates line up with the evangelicals' values. If you look at some of the candidates, you have Rudy Giuliani, who's been married 3 times. He supports abortion rights. You look at John McCain. He has voted conservatively. His record is very conservative, but he is not considered a strong supporter of the federal marriage amendment. Mitt Romney is Mormon, so he clearly has some very philosophical differences with the evangelicals. The question is, what does all of this mean? And the religious experts that we spoke with today said you might actually see a marriage, a new relationship between the evangelicals and the Democrats, because both now share this broader agenda. And what might happen also, they say, is that you might see a fracturing of the evangelical movement because there's so many different hands in the pot, so many different directions that they're trying to go in, and no clear leader. So it'd be
also an
interesting to see.
expansion of the issues under which they may vote, get motivated to vote. Randy Kay, appreciate it.